Good morning. We are in Lüderitz. We didn't film much yesterday because it was just kind of the drive from Zebra River to Lüderitz. But today we're going to Kolmanskop, which is the ghost town.
I'm very excited.
So we've arrived at the Kolmanskop ghost town, and we are about to go on a tour here for a little while. We're going to learn a little bit about it, and then we get some free time to explore all throughout it on our own, which will be pretty cool. Just exploring all the rooms that are abandoned, the sand-filled houses. And so as a quick overview of the site here, you've got some of the houses up there, which are the houses of the managers and the engineers and the sort of bosses, and that's where a lot of the money was. And in the middle, that is the office now, where they have all the tours, meeting and whatnot. And then all along here we've got the baker's house, the bakery, there's the hospital in the far background, and a bunch of the different housing areas. Essentially they had an entire town and village that you could buy everything you needed. You didn't need to leave here, and you could perfectly survive. So some of the houses here were closed when they left. Basically, people closed the doors, and those are the ones that have stayed really well preserved. Whereas some of them, the doors have been blown open or they've been left open, and that's the ones where a lot of the sand had come in and just sort of taken over. So you can see this building here. The bakery had just been completely taken over by sand. And you actually have to be really careful, they said, especially in this building, because there's a lot of snakes in here. So I'm watching my step cautiously, hoping not to get bit by a snake. But we'll let you know if we find one. And of course we wore flip-flops, so.
Not me. I didn't wear flip-flops. I was prepared.
But she's terrified of the snakes.
No.
So hopefully we don't find any snakes.
I'm not scared of the snakes.
You keep making me go first.
No, I don't. I didn't go in the dark place.
Oh, I went in a dark room. You'll see it. There's no snakes though. On the boundaries of this town, because it's still an active mine and diamond mining area, they actually have closed circuit cameras watching at all times, because you're not allowed to leave or try and pick something up, or they'll have security on you in no time. But I'll let Katie tell you a little bit more about the history of Kolmanskop.
So in 1908, there was a ton of people around here just kind of speculating about gold and diamonds and all the different resources. And somebody actually found a rock and gave it to one of the townspeople, and he put it in his pocket because he thought it was pretty. He didn't think about it for weeks. Weeks later, he pulls it out once someone notices another rock that looks pretty, realizes they're actually raw diamonds. So by 1910, there was speculation that all over the ground, you could see shiny things, and they were actually diamonds themselves. So by moonlight, people would look and see all the shiny, and there were people actually on their stomachs collecting as many diamonds as they could fill their pockets with.
So all of these houses along here are just past the boundary where they say you shouldn't really go into the houses, because this is a very active hyena area, and throughout the day hyenas will sleep in these houses, and they come out at night to drink out of the watering hole around here and hunt. So we're not going to go into the houses, but we just wanted to see some of these old places. So as I was walking by this house, I just heard something go clang inside. So who knows what's in there?
Fast forward to the 1920s, things are going really well, they're making a ton of money, then the stock market crash happened. So now all of a sudden, even though the supply is the same, the demand is low. People aren't making any money off these diamonds anymore, so people start to leave. But one thing that we noted before they leave at the end of each work kind of shift chunk, which is about 6 weeks, they had to pass through an X-ray machine. So we went into a room that had all the different ways that people were smuggling out diamonds, which was really interesting. Modern days, people started to come back. They thought, you know what, maybe these German miners missed something. So they said, okay, we're going to come here for 10 years to see what's going on. Then that got extended a little more and a little more. And right now it's still happening. So all around us is a restricted diamond area where the mining is still happening. The difference is now people aren't getting rich. Just a few corporations getting rich, miners working for a very, very small wage.
snake! Alright, we're going exploring through the rooms. This is a tiny little entrance into another tiny little entrance. And we're gonna see if we can get in here. Although there's no snakes.
I just want you. I just want you. The words I never said but wanted to. I'm losing you. I'm losing you. Oh, but these thoughts won't let you go. They keep running back to you. Whoa. Chasing starlight to find it's died away. Breathe it in. It's just now. We're just falling.
So this room would have been the kitchen. You can see the sink over here. And they have the iron plate on the bottom of the stove. And you can see the power and the piping for piping out the chimney for all the cooking. And if you look really carefully on the wall, they actually have wallpaper that's like a teapot and a coffee cup. And that symbolizes that it was the kitchen. Mind the gap. So, we've sort of lost the roof up here and the floor. Nobody told me that the big bad wolf was in Namibia. Poor little piggies. So you come out on your doorstep and this is your front yard view. Look at that sight. So these are some of the ways people tried smuggling diamonds out from the workers. This guy's tried doing it in his boot. This was transporting a parcel. These guys tried taking off along the fence and the motorcycle. This was through electronic equipment. This was with one stuck up their bum. These guys tried using pigeons to have pigeons smuggle diamonds out. And this one was they took a crossbow and they shot a hollowed out arrow full of diamonds. And this is just a few different methods they used, like hollowing out the butt of a knife and filling it with diamonds to try and smuggle them out. But everyone went through an X-ray machine and was pretty much always caught. So this room was where they did the butcher. They had the big tables here, and they'd butcher the different meat, different animals. And over here is the big kitchen where they had 2 giant stoves. And instead of the smoke coming out of the top, it would actually get sucked down and out and back. And the smoke got sucked out in the behind the stoves. In this creepy room, it's pitch black, is where they would use for cold storage. So this was the sort of piping system that worked through the walls, which would pump some sort of the cold air. And then these boxes here is where the cold air would pump in, similar to a system we have nowadays, just a little bit older. And they'd hang the meats all along these hooks. And this is where they keep all the meat cold and frozen. And it'd stay about 0 or just below 0 Celsius. So this was the cooling room. This is where they've actually made their fresh water out of the sea water. And then they would make ice as well. And this is a freezer box, like a freezer, and the ice would go in the top. And then this door would open up, and there's a couple levels for keeping perishables cold. And they'd have a bowl underneath that would catch the drippings of the ice, and then they would reuse that because it's fresh water. All finished up at Kolmanskop. Thoroughly investigated every single house here, except for the ones off limits. Although we wanted to get in there.
And it's really cool. You should come.
Very, very cool. Definitely come. Wear closed-toed shoes in case of snakes. We did not see any, unfortunately.
I put one in the car. You'll see one soon.
We're heading to Diaz Point now, and we're gonna relax the rest of the afternoon and see what else Lüderitz has to offer. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe up here. Check out our most recent other videos over here, or subscribe to our other channel over here.